So about 1,000,000 years ago, these higher dimensional beings that I have a video on, by the way, these celestials, like basically abstract type characters, came to Earth and altered the native life. The native life was split into 3 different subcategories, of course, though. As you can see right here, of course, the deviant, the human, of course, you already know who the humans are, and then you have the eternal. Hence their name. They were created for longevity, to be able to live for an extremely long amount of time, a lot of life experience, basically. They developed their powers and ended up honing them throughout the years because, you know, they got a lot of time, right? These characters can even channel cosmic energy to give them super strength, flight, energy projection, all the fun stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna get into that in a second. They made about 100 Eternals, so that might seem like quite a lot, but that's really not that much compared to the human population. And of course, they made the deviants stated right here. They literally hide in plain sight amongst the humans. They got to kind of blend in, you know? They're way more advanced than the standard times, like invisible aircrafts, for example, can fix human Earth-like issues like fixing the hole in the ozone layer. It's even stated that these quote-unquote Eternals existed at the time of the original library and saved most of the writings from Caesar's fire. Alchemy, transmutation, there was a real science behind it. Ancient science, basically, that Marvel's top scientists find valuable, basically. They have this type of stuff, the Eternals. So yeah, their science and technology is very high end. I mean, they can even hide their entire city. Their knowledge and tech, they have long range holograms, weapons that can change gravity. Their mirrors allow a communication with one another, as you can see with Makkari. Can even compress matter and even recombine it. That's something that should be respected. They had these issues with these deviants, something else that was created by the Celestials on the 3 subspecies, you know, the thing I mentioned earlier. The deviants, for example, their atomic structure was compacted and stored as one large cube, which would have lowered into a foundation of cities. It's a little trick we picked up from the Celestials. A lot of involvement with the Celestials. You can see that's Ikaris over there in that corner. They're talking to Spectrum. They can manipulate cosmic energy to get superpowers and stuff and all that good stuff, but a lot of them have similar things, but a lot of them have things that are unique to them, if that makes sense. The Eternals. Many of them can transform, don't age. You two broke up about 500,000 years ago. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Flying is a common thing in this occasion with Thor, of course. Very common thing to fly. Eternals. This occasion, they can resist magical drain that was messing up the Avengers. As you can see, they had a specific immunity to this specific monster's power, one of the Eternals. And since the Celestials created them, they made some type of programming to where they literally cannot hurt a Celestial even if they tried to. They're hardwired not to, no matter what. A lot of Eternals can teleport as well, can make illusions. Matter manipulation seems to be very common. This energy cone, for example, was strong enough to capture beings like the Silver Surfer, for example. Even the Super Skrull got captured by him. Eternals have stuff like this they can do. And they have this thing known as the Unimind. It has no race or gender. It's basically just made of light, mind, and pure energy. It is only created when Eternals come together and join their will and intelligence. The early years, the Prime Eternal, aka the leader of the Eternals currently, the main leader of the Eternals has changed over the years, so it really depends on who's the current leader. They can summon the Unimind. That's how it used to be, but then stuff changed to the point of basically any congregation of Eternals could summon the Unimind. They would have to use a great ritual at first, though. You know what I mean? But the cool thing about it is that it can talk to the Celestial, fly into space, has the power to fuel Cosmic Hulk, aka the fake Hulk, not the real Hulk. Attacks a man in Celestial armor, so it can attack, and beats him, might I add. Despite there being over 100 Eternals, there are just a few that kind of remain in the spotlight. Heck, some are even classified right here. Their Eternals are like scattered across the place. It's weird how they say they made 100 Eternals and 100 Deviants. The Celestials did in this issue, but it says right here they took on 1,000,000 Deviants or whatever. Kind of weird, right? But whatever. Comics, right? All that stuff aside, despite there being this many Eternals, there's like a few main ones that you need to know about, and that's the ones I'm going to go over in this video, even though a lot of them are strong in their own rights. Obviously, they're not all equal to each other, but they're still really strong. It shows the different locations they're at, a lot of them being in Olympia, even one of the main ones, Ikaris. Members include Zuras, aka a leader of the Eternals at one point. He got roasted by a kid, calling him a big fat old hippie. The Forgotten One, another member of the Eternals, also known as Gilgamesh, a very powerful Eternal, as you can see in this pic with Thor. Then you have Thena, who's going to be in the live action movie, by the way, as well as some others. She is the daughter of the first guy I mentioned, Zuras. No lie, pretty much this whole group is powerhouse, if I'm being honest with you. Makkari, another Eternal who specializes in speed, even though they all have a lot of different abilities, he just specializes in speed when they all pretty much have some good speed, though. His design is dope, though. I agree. And when you think of Eternal, you probably think of this guy, Ikaris, of course. Powerhouse tier, of course. And of course, Marvel has to have their own version of Sersi, spelled S-E-R-S-I, though. Out of the Eternals group, her powers is a little bit more witchcraft based, master of alchemy and stuff like that, but I'm gonna get to her later. I'm just going through them right now. We're probably never going to meet a version of Sersi that's not witchcraft based, are we? This guy known as Carcass. He's a deviant that joined the Eternals group. Then you got the Eternal known as Ajax. Then you got the Eternal Kingo Sunin or Sunin or however you spell it. No grammar Nazis, please. Let's go back in time and talk about Zuras. Now, I mentioned them briefly when I was running down the different Eternals and stuff like that, but let's see how strong they actually are. He doesn't have as many feats as, of course, the main guy, Ikaris, of course. None of the Eternals have as many feats as Ikaris. Some of them are pretty flashy when it comes to battle feats, when it comes to characters they actually fought, though. I will agree to that. Like, I will admit that he has some pretty cool blast power, implied to be able to explode with a fit of rage with energy going all over him, like energy leaping from his body. I like how they're concerned about the furniture here. He states he's the mightiest of the Eternals. He even goes as far as clashing blows with Zeus, clashing beams with energy projection. I shouldn't even have to show no feats from this. This should already automatically give you respect just because Zeus is a freaking Skyfather of Marvel. On top of beam struggling with Zeus and stuff like that, he even took a blast from Zeus too. The fact that he's not getting one shot at and curb stomp instantly is amazing. He sought Gilgamesh, aka the Forgotten One, like that, showing his level of power. He overpowered Makkari, the speed being of the group, showing that he's the eldest for a reason. Whatever he does lack in strength, which he still has a lot of, he makes up for it in raw blast power, telekinesis, and other energy projective, cosmic energy manipulative type power. He does cool stuff like stop huge fires that were really big. He can move big rocks with his telekinesis, just standard abilities that look cool. His force field can stop Cosmic Hulk, aka not the real Hulk, of course, but it's still cool to see. He made contact with Celestial, known as the one above all, not the supreme being of Marvel, but the celestial one above all. You know what I mean? Because he has telepathic ability. He did this with the help of his helmet. By the way, he actually beat Cosmic Hulk, not the Hulk, the real Hulk, not the real Hulk. Despite the odds of the Eternals being like basically 10,000 to 1, even though they're like literally outnumbered completely, he explained the difference and why they won. Zuras did, and why they won against the Deviants, even though there was so many more Deviants than the Eternals in this particular occasion. He stated that it becomes a fight when hundreds can't be killed. They mentioned, you're telling me 100 people took on millions? That's not a fight, that's a massacre. He debunked it by saying it becomes a fight when the 100 can't be killed. And when you have tacticians like Zuras, he's a good tactician, he's a leader, and Thena, his daughter, even Droog of Nightmares, my cousin, he was always a nasty piece of work, but he was lethal. And you, Makkari, he does get mistaken for Zeus. He kind of does look like Zeus, don't lie. From Marvel. Let's talk about Gilgamesh, aka the Forgotten One. The reason why he's even called the Forgotten One is because he was exiled. He's a killer of monsters. He was banished from some unseen crime. But however, he did eventually save Earth from an incident with some celestial being, you know, the celestials that made them. Despite him being exiled, he was eventually accepted back into the eternal culture at the end of the day, right? But this guy's extremely strong, but of course, like many others, he doesn't have as many flashy feats. Might have some statements or two though, but hey, strong enough to draw blood from Zuras, you know, the guy that looks like Zeus, the Eternal, showing his power. He pulls Thor's hammer from his hand, fighting ability with Thor himself, even though he can't lift the hammer though. Gets in a slugfest with Hercules, a god of strength level being, Hulkish tier guy right here. This dragon being, real big, punching power. He's strong enough to stagger this dragon with punches, like this giant creature with his strength, right? But check this out, when Thor tried to do the same, it bounced off, like the Mjolnir literally bounced off the same creature. He's able to stagger, something Thor's having issues with. Of course, he has eye beams as well, that he has fought deviants. I mean, they've fought deviants plenty of times, knocks him back with a punch here, breaking eternal machinery. He broke Makkari's leg, face, back, you name it, with relative ease, showing his power. Claims he's strong enough that he held the earth over his head, and people thought that he was Atlas, one of the primordial titans. Now, he's matching Thor tears and strength. He made the mothership shake in their clash too, on top of it. Charges through many Eternals, including Ikaris in this group. Like, that's a lot of them. Plenty of occasions slugging in with Thor, punching him through the celestial metal. Full-blown energy projection like I-beams. So no, Ikaris is not the only one with I-beams, by the way. Even be able to summon lightning. Full-blown slugfest with God of Strength characters like Hercules, durability-wise too. Keeps fighting after being hit with his hammer by Thor. Wrestles Thor down on some part, showing his power. He has endurance where he took Mjolnir to the chest and he keeps fighting. Even took attacks from Zuras. He caught Captain America's shield this one time, showing his paralysis when it comes to catching or reacting to things. Zaps a bullet out of the air while he's in mid-flight. Slams into a speeding Makkari, even though Makkari's ridiculously fast, so he's got some decent combat speed. Implied he can fight in the dark. Matched Hercules while he was blind, by the way, temporarily, if might I add, battle I showed a while ago. I believe there's plenty of evidence that he's definitely one of the top tier, or one can even debate the strongest physically of the Eternals, Gilgamesh. But what do you think? But enough for him for now. Let's talk about Thena, the daughter of Zuras, who's also very powerful, as you all know. She will also be in live action as well. I'm ready for it. She's the sometimes leader of the Eternals because, the Eternals leaders be changing from time to time. The Eternals are not too complicated, man. They have the standard stuff: strength, blast power, speed, enhanced everything, really. Nothing too convoluted or complicated about them. Slams this deviant, like in this occasion. Pulls open some metal that survived re-entry. Also, seemed to give She-Hulk and Herc some trouble, showing that she's not a weakling. She shoved a sword through the Forgotten One in this particular occasion. Battle Feed, one of the stronger members of the Eternals. The deviants handed her some bonds. She said, "Nah, I have super strength and I'm breaking out of it because I'm too strong." They even state great physical power, impressive, but nothing compared to my psionic ability. Strong enough to cleave through deviants, slicing and dicing. She can effortlessly carry Makkari. Seems to have teleportation, in this occasion teleporting. She's able to shake Olympia thanks to her anger, in anger. Strong enough to blast back Ikaris, a Hulkish, Thor-ish type of character being, even though he admitted he's a little bit weaker than them, which I'm going to show you in this vid. Get blasted, deviant. Her attacks are implied to be able to harm powerhouses like the Silver Surfer, showing she isn't a flea. She took attacks from Gilgamesh, one of the stronger Eternals. I think we all can agree that Gilgamesh is Thor tier, but yet she kept fighting back, showing that she's in that range as well. This is the part I showed earlier of her driving the sword in them and stuff. She seems to have matter manipulation as well, like being able to just make beings new clothes. That's pretty cool. Like makes rejects new clothes. She was even able to shut down Iron Man's suit. It's kind of showing some energy manipulation. It's kind of impressive, kind of rendering him immobile. Respect it. Thena literally fought 100,000 deviant warriors trying to cross the bridge, and one Eternal is defending it. Thena doing all of this on her own. After 36 hours of slaughter, she begins to get bored. She fought for 36 hours. You talking about endurance, super level endurance. Talking about stamina. She good with gear, long range weapons like this energy crossbow, for example. You gotta love the bonding time, doing little games of Rock'em Sock'em, like beating Zuras in a game of Advanced Rock'em Sock'em, I guess. Advanced Rock'em Sock'em robots. This is funny. It's literally a sport. She's great at throwing energy spears. Even when she's depowered, it shows her skills. Using forks and plates to her advantage against the attackers. With no abilities at all, completely depowered. Like basically human. Oh yeah, by the way, she can fly. In case you can't tell by now, if the Eternals die, they resurrect. The name Eternals, you get it? Okay. She does get mistaken for Athena. I know her name sounds really similar. Thena, Athena, you know what I mean? Thena can manipulate cosmic energy to conjure up weapons out of energy, basically, like this sword, for example, with slicing and dicing, and you love the violence. If you want to know more about Thena and her lore, you can literally read this Marvel guidebook information. Kind of helps you out about her. When it comes to being able to create energy constructs, she's just a straight full-blown energy projector. It even states Thena's special abilities make her among the most powerful of the Eternals. Thena can project cosmic energy in the form of beams from her eyes or in the form of beams or flashes from her hands. Can be used as force, heat as light, as possible as other forms of electromagnetic energy. Thena can psionically manipulate atoms and molecules so as to transform an object's shape. It's implied that Eternals can use hard work and dedication to help themselves. Even though there's a lot of them, there's still certain ones that seem to be at the top of the food chain when it comes to Eternals. It states she possessed the conventional attributes of her race as well as certain special abilities developed through rigorous discipline. Like all of the Eternals, her life force is augmented by cosmic energy, making her virtually immortal, immune to disease and aging, and able to regenerate injury or missing organic tissue. It bolsters her metabolism. She does not tire from physical exertion. So in short, you need to respect Thena, the Eternal. That brings us to the member of Makkari, a member of the Eternals. He's had quite a bit of power progression through the years, which is why you might see some inconsistencies when it comes to them struggling with certain things. When it comes to raw speed, Eternals do get stronger over time through rigorous disciplines and things like that. I showed that with my Thena stuff. Makkari has so much potential to be one of the fastest beings of all time. I mean, he has the lore to back it up when it comes to the Eternals, but he just doesn't have that many flashy feats like he should. But of course, he's been living for a long time. Of course, when you have this much life experience, you got to have some type of knowledge. Having adventures throughout the history, being a part of human history, kind of blending in, you can get a really good overview of how his life has been, on why certain events occur. You can pause the video if you have to right here, of course. See, a lot of Eternals have the same ability, but he took an interest in speed at an early age, learning to run before he could walk. They even state even though he focuses on speed, he can wield his cosmic energy for super strength. It states here, lifting 50 tons. That's an oversimplification, but yeah, you get the idea. He's got training with certain characters, and even before then he was pretty quick, but he's gotten an upgrade, so one could say his speed is inconsistent because his evolution did have quite a bit of differences going through his life, getting faster throughout the years training, stuff like that. During his time as Makkari or Hurricane, even though back in the day these two wasn't necessarily the same people, but it was a retcon that made them the same person, so whatever. Punching power-wise, he can punch somebody through a tree, Makkari, throws folks into the air, spins a guy around, then flies off. Punches somebody hard enough, Crow for example, hard enough that the roar sounds into the heavens, like, well dang, strikes with maddening fury, deafening roars of two enemies resounding into the heavens, like whoa. He fought Crow with, the narration says the fury of the battle was 1,000 thunderstorms. It even states here, the entire universe seems to explode with the impact of the two colossal figures. Talk about strength and power. Let's get to the main event. I mean, heck, he's fast enough to literally catch bullets. He can cool down things thanks to his arms moving real fast. He even states moving his arms so rapidly that it creates a great wind. Hurricane cools the rivet and then catches it in a nick of time. He changes into a costume before a bullet can even hit him. Bullets literally cannot compare to his speed, blitzing all over the place. I don't know why you would do this, but I guess he hit the line at the speed of light? Like, what the heck? In the nose? Bro, that line should have splatted. That's 186,000 miles per second, by the way, guys. Speed of light. He's consistently moving faster than the eye can interpret. For example, cheating in a carnival or rigged carnival game and then is back before he even notices he won. Person, the boss can't believe it. Like, what? Stop cheating, Hurricane. Spins folk around and runs back to his seat as fast as light. He runs so fast, he suctions a car in front of him. Like, what? Speed. He quote unquote assuming the speed of a comet. Hurricane flies through the partly open door. Of course, he's too fast enough to break the grip of these thugs. Dodges the bullets as with ease of like a snowball. Oh, here comes the narration of flying up to a car with the speed of light. Hurricane races in pursuit of Thug's car. They state here he's moving as fast as lightning. Of course, he wouldn't know, though. Why would he know his exact speed? But he's quick. That's the point, right? How they call him the god of speed here. His reflexes respond with incredible swiftness. The flashing arrow is so instantaneous that the arrow appears to be traveling in slow motion. Hurricane hastily pushes Ruth out of the danger. Outraces a striking boa constrictor, aka a snake. Acts with the speed of light. Yep, stated yet again. Outraces a bullet. Of course. Why would you need to go to speed of light to outrace a bullet, Makkari? That's messed up. That is so overkill, Hurricane. Gets mistaken as a streak of light. His raw speed, binding glare of light, leaving the yapping spies behind him. He even covers all the battlefronts with lightning-like rapidity. He never allows an order to reach a battlefield. Yes, I'm well aware that these Eternals be looking like a lot like the Greek gods. Like, for example, Hurricane looks like Hermes, the god of speed, you know. Of course, you can run on water, deflecting this torpedo, running across vast amounts of distances really quick. Faster than I can see, the guards don't even notice him. Yeah, he just ran right past them. They don't even notice what's going on. Too fast for the human eye to detect. He's one of those speed people that actually has durability, so he doesn't necessarily have to dodge the bullets, even though he can. They just ate the bullets here. Literally a hail of bullets, and he's okay from it. They even states walk through the hail of bullets unscathed. Bullets don't really do nothing to him. It's eternal. Oh yeah, don't forget, he still has cosmic energy, so he can summon lightning. He gave this man wings this one time, and he grew to the size of mountains, because he can, I guess, as an Eternal. Again, using bolts of electricity. Straight energy blast here, you can see. Bruh loves to use lightning from his fingertips, seems like, though. That's old school comics for you. He was able to use his stamps. It states his 2 silver wings from their concealment. Put him on the taxi he was riding in because he's, you know, immortal. It states here he's immortal passenger. And the car starts going way faster. It's a much better car no matter what. Like what? And he can somehow make a disguise for himself. Okay. I know it's hard to believe this guy's Makkari. Heck, he don't look nothing like him. And he's doing a lot of different stuff than what we're used to. Especially him growing that big. That's awesome, right? But I guess retcons are retcons, right? But as Makkari, they say his strength is all over the place. They say he can lift 1 ton in one thing. That's why I don't take these guy books serious when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to, you know, because these characters do feats way better than what they've shown here. They say he can possibly fly Mach 1 or whatever. Talk about a few Eternals can surpass this speed. Like what? And they stated another guy, they can live 50 tons. You see what I mean? Like it's just all over the place. You know what I mean? It's not, they don't really know. They just, this is just for kind of like pun's sake. I mean, think about it. He did dig through concrete, though, so that's pretty freaking strong. He lifts this fairly large stone in this occasion, scuffle with Ikaris, stuff like that. Different Eternals scuffling with each other. The reason why his feats are going to be a little bit drastically different from his feats with Hurricane is because they originally wasn't the same person. Retcons, that's why it's such a drastic difference between their feats and stuff like that. But he still can move faster than I can see, like in this occasion. For example, it's implied he still raced in front of Ikaris this one time. They even stated the swiftest among them. He can fly himself and others all the way around the world in minutes. In this occasion, he saved some folks by pulling them thanks to suction or running speed, just pulling them in the process. He's fast enough to cause sonic booms. He can fly at over 1,500 miles per hour. Like over that. That's just like an oversimplification, wouldn't you say? I mean, think about it. He caught up to the Super Skrull's top flight speed because he's that quick, right? Remember that Super Skrull has the speed of Human Torch. Remember that Human Torch is fast enough to evade the Zeta particles. Just letting you know. Oh yeah, in the battlefield, Makkari can literally run circles around the Super Skrull. He believes he can run from Olympia to Italy in 7 minutes. Oh yeah, thanks to him being an Eternal, he has a pretty decent healing factor as well. Here comes the speed amping stickers again. I don't know how he be doing this, but he can place stickers on stuff to make stuff faster, like I showed in the earlier days. As Hurricane. Oh yeah, on this same page it states they can alter molecules evidently on the volume of 12 cubic feet. If you want to get more lore on the Eternals, you got it right here. You can pause the video if you have to. And here you can pause the video if you have to. Pretty much breaks down all the members of the Eternals. You see the Forgotten One, Ajax, Ikaris, and the boy I'm talking about currently, my boy Makkari. And state here yet again, he was mistaken for the Olympian deity Hermes. His passion for speed, designing various high-velocity transport vessels, present during the Trojan War, by the way. Flashy feats aside, he does have battle feats with characters like Quasar, even be able to give him some issues in this particular occasion. Of course, they're not bloodlusted fighting here. His ridiculous speed helps him be able to do this, along with his energy projection and all those good things. But you're probably thinking, man, his feats kind of are trash compared to when he was Hurricane and etc., right? He has this mentor known as Master Elo, trained him to help him improve his speed progression. I love the hard work and dedication attitude, don't you? This is satisfying seeing him blitz around like this, though, I will admit. He even saved Quasar with his speed this one time. He's about to be killed, as you can see. He even kept up with Earth 712 Whizzer, or Wiser, however you should say it. Doing so, he's not even able to get up to his top speed thanks to all these twists and turns, implying that he does get faster the more velocity. I'm a big fan of speed blitzing, like speed blitzing this super gorilla, like with punches, volleys, showing his fighting speed. He can even run on air. Going supersonic should be like a joke at this point. Of course, he can do that. On this occasion, his calf feels tender. Pulled a muscle, he thinks. He beat Wiser in the race, though, despite his bummy calf. I am running, I am speed, I am light. Are you playing light speed again? You know, Marvel light speed ain't really that big of a deal, so it's not far-fetched since he's a speed type character. You know, it would be crazy if he wasn't, but that's none of my business. Of course, they can run faster than sound. That's an oversimplification. He's fast enough to reach escape velocity in moments, racing up a storm. Literally enter a tachyon tunnel. Note how they stated the fastest man born on Earth. They state here, in this higher dimension of our cosmos, the speed of light holds no sway, and approaching light speed brings no relativistic accrual of infinite mass. aka no danger to the environment, I'm assuming here. He said he's not just the fastest man on Earth, he's the fastest creature in the whole galaxy. Reason why you don't see him doing energy projection right now in this new outfit like he was in these older days like this is because he kind of sacrificed most of his extra eternal powers just to kind of focus it all on speed, which is why you don't see him being super versatile as much anymore. I mean, the guy got in a race with the runner, ran neck and neck with the runner, a legit race with the runner. In the race with the runner, he even states he becomes light in this instant, striving towards his ambitions, breaking past his limits, crossing the finish line in his run, raw speed against the runner. Makkari got training from another secret of absolute speed. Everything is literally frozen. You know, that being that I showed you earlier, this being right here, he learned the secrets of this absolute speed. The runner is extremely impressive to beat in a race because this guy always holding these what called galactic marathons. I mean, when it comes to fighting speed, he's even fast enough to be kind of too fast for characters like Thanos, for example, who is massively faster than light. I mean, he has no problem reacting to the Silver Surfer. When it comes to raw speed, that's what runner specializes in, so I would definitely give him the advantage over characters like Silver Surfer in speed. And if you were to take that seriously when it comes to speed, that's insanely impressive considering how fast the Silver Surfer is. Can fly 500,000 light years in a very extremely short amount of time, can cross the universe extremely fast, flew galactic distances in a panel, like you see him literally galaxy hopping out of the galaxy, crossed the universe in minutes, And you're telling me Makkari beat the runner in a race, despite the fact that Silver Surfer can literally time travel in raw speed? Runner is implied to be faster than the Silver Surfer, even matching the Silver Surfer in power and etc. You're probably thinking, but we ain't seen Makkari galaxy hop on screen like the Silver Surfer. That's because he doesn't have as many showings. I tell you this all the time. Just because a character hasn't shown to be able to do something doesn't mean they can't do something. Like every planet buster in Marvel isn't going to get their time to actually planet bust. That doesn't debunk the fact they can planet bust. Some writers just ain't got time to give every character a feat of them busting on planet because it might not fit the narrative or the story or something. It's one of those things. He doesn't have the flashy feats, but when it comes to the battle feats, it adds up with the battle feats and his lore on how the fact Makkari is a speed demon type of character. It adds up with the fact he's eternal and how he sacrificed most of his eternal power just to focus on speed. It all adds up to his lore and the runner being one of the fastest people. I mean, even Marvel implied he's one of the fastest people, or why would they have the runner doing these marathons, galactic marathons, recruiting different characters from Marvel to race each other? Even characters like Spectrum have been involved in these galactic races, so it's evident of it, right? When you add all this stuff together, he has no choice but to only be at least trillions or quintillions of times faster than light. Well, technically, he's immeasurable on the scale. He's just that high up there. You know what I mean? Just crazy numbers. And let me tackle the elephant in the room. Even if you don't agree he's faster than the runner, he's got to be at least comparable. So it doesn't really debunk it. Even if you want to say, oh, I still think the runner's faster. That's cool if you think he's faster than Makkari, but he still won a race against runner. So he has to be in that same range of speed to even win a race against the runner. A being that's also speed centric. But of course, there was a time that they were made to believe they were powerless. They wasn't really powerless, but it was made to believe they were powerless by an illusion made by Sprite. Even when he thinks he ain't got no powers, he unconsciously does or moves out the way of the car using super speed. He says time feels completely stopped to him, and I had to figure out what to do with the bullets. Like the bullets are just completely slow motion to him. That many, moving way faster than thought, oversimplification. And then there was a time when he was a servant of Tiamat, a celestial being. You already knew at one point they was going to get involved with these celestials again, right? And when Makkari was a servant of Tiamat, celestial being, they literally can't hurt them because they were shut down if they try to hurt them because they was created by the celestials, right? Very powerful. He claims he doesn't tire. That's cool. This being known as Great Cry, how you say it, they state if he strikes you with his speed, he could kill him, showing that's how much power Makkari got. His punching power seems to be good enough to stagger these giants, as you can see. Slams this being to the side of a mountain really hard. Knocks Kane Parker to the ground real hard, showing his power. Look at the speed of him dodging instantaneously, basically. Spider family people are no strangers to dodging light speed stuff. Even states I have the speed of light on my side, so being able to effortlessly dodge attacks from Spider-Man like that and just make him seem like fodder is a big deal, even though that was a different Spider-Man. But yeah, spider people are kind of relative to each other. You know what I'm saying? Kane and Peter Parker, Kane Parker. Makes sense. Like, look at the after image effect and then just knocks him to the ground like that. Looked like he KO'd him too. He even beats Ikaris in a race, even though Ikaris had a head start, for example. Raw speed. He's fast enough to dodge attacks from Sun Girl. Raw speed. Look at it. Look at the after images. They say he can run about Mach 3, they say. Seemed like the Celestial kind of made him a little slower because they note that, remember earlier how I mentioned the illusions? Evidently, it wasn't an illusion and he used the power of the Celestial Tiamat, the Dreaming Celestial, to reality warp them into mortals. So when he got his powers back, it was almost like he got his powers back from being depowered. So yeah, he was depowered and then he got powered up again, but not to the level he was at in his prime when he went against the runner, right? It even states here they had no memory of their prior lives. It even states here, prior to his regeneration by the Dreaming Celestial, Makkari could travel beyond the speed of light, but it had a high risk or whatever. This is why he's much slower currently. He's not in his prime, the runner levels or Silver Surfer levels speed right now, or in this instance. But regardless, he's still pretty fast, but yeah, he's not in his prime. Marvel loves to write off speedsters, don't they? Don't you love these little cones he be making, these little blur effects? But he can still cause sonic booms, can still travel on water at least. That's still cool. He examined all 6,000 of these troopers before they even noticed, because he's moving that quick, faster than eyesight still. Evade strike from Cray, this being, very quick. Look how slow he is. He even claims that they're so slow he could disable him and all his troops before they can even blink. Just light work to him. Like, he has an army of 6,000, but yet he says he could take them all out before they can even blink. This even states 4 Eternals against 6,000 deviants. Y'all deviants ain't ready. Yeah, this is a deviant, by the way. Decent durability, like he slams into this wall at incredible speeds, but he's okay. But he still got hurt from it, though, But at the end of the day, the true villain is the writers. The writers seem like they didn't really know what they wanted to do with him. Do they want to make him the fastest? Is he the fastest? He doesn't show up in enough stuff to really concrete himself. to race Silver Surfer, it would be dope to see. It's a lot of different things I would be purposely like for him to see. It just depends on what they want to do with him in the future. In his prime days, when he was going against the runner and stuff, he was up there or faster than the Silver Surfer, even beat the runner in a race for all I know. I mean, you got to respect that. I mean, sheesh. Imagine getting punched by somebody that's running at you at that level of speed. I'm just saying, there's got to be some powerhouse tier levels before us. I'm just saying. How fast do you think Makkari is? What do you think the writers are doing with him? Do you think he suffers similar to characters like underrated folk like Wonder Man, for example? I mean, he's a being that should be Hulk Thor tier consistently, but he seems to consistently get mopped by them. It's like the writers are unsure what power level they want him to be at. I feel like Makkari kind of is in this category when it comes to the writers just not really knowing what to do with him when it comes to consistency and stuff of that sort.
His name is Ikaris. I'm probably butchering his name because the way it's spelled weird, so don't judge me on that. Ikaris was a third generation member of the Eternals, an evolutionary offshoot of humanity who possessed extraordinary long lifespans. He does light work. This is the light feet I just like to throw in sometimes, like him just snapping chains. First off, let's start off with the fact that he has energy projection. Yeah, he seems like your standard powerhouse Superman knockoff powered character. Like, not saying he's a Superman knockoff, but he has the standard abilities for a powerhouse character, like laser vision, stuff like that. He's been shown on a consistent basis to be able to slug it out with the mightiest powerhouses in Marvel, like Silver Surfer, being able to shoot I-beams on Silver Surfer, to be able to cause Silver Surfer pain and discomfort. Another occasion of him blasting Silver Surfer, and of course another occasion of him fighting on par with powerhouse beings like Silver Surfer. Oh, by the way, he can actually shoot energy blasts out of his hands too, so yeah, he's more than just I-beams. Yeah, it's pretty versatile as it seems already. Cosmic Pirate is actually impressed by him too. Can do cool stuff like melt underground caves. He can stagger beings that are wearing celestial armor, showing, yeah, he does concrete himself in the powerhouse level already, and I haven't even got into other stuff when it comes to power scaling. Like him being an underrated character, he doesn't have that many inanimate object busting feats, obviously, because he's not going to get as many showings as some of the most popular characters, but that does not mean he can't do this stuff. I mean, he's already similarly portrayed to be in the black hole level just from his scan of me showing you fight the Silver Surfer already. Not only that, he's able to fight on par with powerhouses like Ares. He's not necessarily a Silver Surfer level being, but he's like at least on the She-Hulk level. You know, he might be above her, the standard She-Hulk level, you know, the sensational She-Hulk era days. He was able to melt Ares' axe. It's even stated here that Ikaris is equal by few among Olympians. Oh, did I mention he actually can fly as well? He flies circling around this plane for the heck of it. While using his flight and skills, he uses his flight, you know, to dodge attacks as well, and maneuverability being a powerhouse as well. He takes out some deviants. This is supposedly why Thanos is so overpowered. Like, he was an Eternal that has the deviant gene, which are these beings, but evidently these beings aren't as strong as Thanos, obviously, for obvious reasons because of the scan. Like, he's literally been able to show the fight on par with all the powerhouses, like even Black Bolt himself, been able to blitz characters like Black Bolt himself. Black Bolt is a being that's concrete in the solar system, multi-solar system level, black hole level for sure, fighting characters like Hulk, Thor, and consistent basis, etc. He even has weird abilities that he doesn't use that often, which never really are explained, like him being able to just teleport planes. Evidently has telepathy. I mean, yeah, this could be an on-off ability. I mean, he was able to control Yellow Jacket. Evidently, he can make stuff invisible too. Like, what? Is this like a on-off? I mean, I don't see other showings of him doing stuff like this, man. This dude got some high potential, man. Can't wait to see what they do in the movies. Hopefully, he's going to get more comments, man, because I can already see his potential based on his writer intent and how he's already fighting powerhouses consistently. Having the energy blast, energy projection, and he even has matter manipulation, evidently, to the point where he was able to create this shield. Like, wow. He can make small pieces of this stuff fly, like, but how, though? Another implication of his matter manipulation, being able to, like, just change his clothes or just morph into his outfit whenever he feels like it, right? Or strip some off without actually having to take it off manually. And quote-unquote, and I quote, fly a plane with his thoughts, evidently. Yeah, he has a lot of strange abilities that are not really explained. I'm not going to lie. They say this is a matter manipulation feed or him just using telekinesis to guide the plane with the actual gears or whatever. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but another occasion of him slugging it out with powerhouses like Ares, slugging it out, showing that he does concrete himself in the powerhouse level, and dodging an attack, showing his combat speed and skill as well. Please know that all Olympians are really well trained, so they're by default good fighters. They wouldn't even be using weapons if there wasn't. Like I said before, this is more than likely going to be a shorter feat run because, you know, Ikaris isn't really a super popular character. He's not a super flashy feat type of person, but when it comes to his battle feats and lore consistently on a consistent basis, I don't see why or how he could be anything other than the powerhouse level, black hole level range already based on the writer intent and the battle feats he does have. Evidently, he was able to fight this fake version of Hulk. Some would say the cosmic Hulk, blow for blow battle. You're probably wondering why this is impressive. Well, it was stated that he's just as strong as the real Hulk. You know, that could be taken with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's a powered up cosmic android. So cosmic. It has cosmic energy, so I don't see why he would be lying. I mean, I do think, you know, he's in that range of power. I mean, but it wouldn't necessarily be equal to Hulk, but whatever. It could be like equal to, like, you know, a moderately enraged Hulk. Of course, you're not going to be equal to like a mindless Hulk or nothing like that, obviously. Just goes through spaceships at times when he wants to and just destroys deviant spaceships with his laser beams, raw strength, speed, flying through it, and etc. Deviants, you know, the gene that Thanos evidently had, the reason why he came out deformed looking, and so evidently the reason why he's so freaking powerful for no reason at birth. An awkward moment where he's strong enough to use his raw energy projection, raw power to tear armor off of celestial armor. Yeah, this type of celestial armor right here, yeah. Just to refresh your memory, these are what Celestials are in Marvel. So yeah, just doing this is no joke. Celestials are universal beings at the very least. Ikaris was able to slug it out with characters like Apocalypse himself. Like Apocalypse, like one of the beings that's like considered definitely in the powerhouse level. Some could even consider him above the powerhouse level. And Ikaris was able to slug it out with characters like this and even stagger him with his hits. That's also not to forget he was able to give it the Hulk a slugfest, Red Hulk-ish, a being that's beaten the Green Hulk and beaten a lot of people, like slugged out with Thor. So yeah, this does concrete him again. He's able to send characters like Blaster flying, a being that's been a threat to Thor before, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, with his eye beams, look at the energy projection and punching power. Or himself, the god of strength level being himself. While it is true that he has admitted that he is not exactly equal, the gap isn't big, so some could say 100. Thor's 100 and Ikaris is 90 or 92 or 95 or whatever you want to call it. We don't have exact numbers, but I'm assuming if he's saying the gap isn't big, I'm assuming he's not saying Thor's 100 and he's a 50, right? He can do cool stuff like tunnel through solid, you know, rock, of course, yeah, like with ease. This is light work for somebody on his level of power. Another occasion of light work, pulling in space with other into space, light work for a powerhouse on his level. Makkari, the quote-unquote supposedly fastest being in Marvel history when at his peak, supposedly via scaling and things like that, even though he doesn't have the best feats when it comes to actual raw calculated feats. But see, he's able to decently keep up with Makkari in his evident prime days, supposedly. Makkari has a lot of power-ups and decreases and etc. So, yeah, for those wondering, yeah, this is actually supposedly the fastest being in Marvel, along with the Runner. There's this time where he, like, fought a multiple group of Eternals, people in the same race as him, and he was able to, like, blast them away, like, yeah, he's that powerful. He's a above average level eternal being, but at the same time, he's not extraordinarily above average. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still concretes himself in the black hole range of power with the other powerhouses. Bouncing all over the place, just more proof that he can hang with characters like Apocalypse. Yeah, that was actually cool what Apocalypse did. Made a circle to dodge and attack. Yeah, Apocalypse was actually pretty powerful. A lot of people don't know. Able to slug it out with characters like Apocalypse. Get back up from attacks from Apocalypse. Keep fighting more and blitzes even harder against Apocalypse, concreting himself even more. Only has he gotten a slugfest with characters like Hyperion, of course, but he was able to fly through a faster than light starship without being harmed, really. More occasions of him slugging out with powerhouse characters like Hyperion. And Hyperion is a being that can punch within a nanosecond. If you're not sure, here you go. Those that think I'm lying, yeah, Hyperion is another being that has fought characters on the powerhouse level like Gladiator, black hole level being. Has been shown to be able to throw a punch as fast as a nanosecond to characters like Gladiators. So being able to fight on par with Hyperion is not only a raw power feat, speed feat, combat speed feat, and just a scaling feat in general to show where he ranges in power. Ikaris' eye beams was able to overpower Blaster's hand beams in a tug of war, blast battle type thing. I know I showed this earlier. He can quote unquote scatter heat electrons. This guy, Blaster has some interesting feats, so you can't just, you know, throw him aside just because Ikaris is able to overpower him like it's nothing. He's consistently shown to be able to do some decent stuff. What I wouldn't necessarily call him like no 100% Thor level being. He's been shown enough to give these powerhouses some trouble and, you know, nuisances. Yeah, he's annoying to characters like Thor to a degree. He is considered an extraordinarily strong Eternal, stronger than your average Eternals, showing you that one feat I showed you earlier of him fighting multiple Eternals at the same time and blasting them off of him. He can shoot energy blasts out of his eyes, out of his hands, so he's pretty versatile with energy projection along with his actual punching power and raw blast power, punching power is type thing. Implied to be mastered and fast and light based on scaling and being able to quote unquote keep up with somewhat with Makkari. He's also durable enough to withstand being submerged in lava, of course. That's right, he's even battled, aka one could say the mightiest Eternal of all time, Thanos himself, and he actually got in a slugfest with him for a little bit in this particular occasion. It was a cool little action sequence, blasting him with his beams. Thanos hits him back. Ikaris, like, he gets some good shots on him, sends him flying through the portal here. I gotta give him respect is due, but like always against most powerhouses in the Silver Surfer Thor-ish tier, he gets overwhelmed. Most powerhouses lose to Thanos when it comes to, you know, straight up fighting him most of the time, if we're being honest. They even state, Ikaris, you're hurt, you gotta call it a draw, we'll line up a rematch.
letting him know he kind of wasn't ready for the 1v, kind of like an illusion here. But they fight Thanos again, but as a group, Thanos seems to be doing pretty well against fighting all of them. But thanks to teamwork, strategies, and tactics, then working together against each other, because they're all powerhouses, they did somewhat get an advantage, working together as a group, Sersi being in the building too. Evidently, Thanos underestimated them. Now let's get around to Sersi, one of the Eternals, very powerful. Which type character of the group? You know, they all got their types, right? She's an ancient Eternal and the mastery of alchemy type stuff. She can disintegrate air in a small area, very haxy stuff. Makes a stone hand that can hold characters like the Silver Surfer in play. This deviant rain gun, she turned it into rubber. She turned this cosmic Hulk, not the real Hulk, into stone, turned a gun into a toy gun. She made Atlantean rifles fire flowers, talking about being able to transmute. Literally turns water into a plastic alloy prison. Like what? Strong enough to hold a deity Perun. She literally mutated a monster to fight an opponent for her, so she doesn't really have to get her hands dirty. Seals an entire chamber on the molecular level. Makes a shield from, that's right, air. Makes a sign out of air. Like, this is funny. She can transform the outfits of hers and others if she feels like it. She said, let me turn this advanced communication device into a painting of Penguin. Like, you see this mirror? That's the watcher, and then boom, it's gone to a painting of penguins. Like, really? Loves changing outfits. Gotta love it. Thor was halfway naked and she clothed him like that. Makes hats out of thin air. She can even change solid flesh, not just inanimate objects, like being able to make herself look exactly like Thor. She even changes a half a group of Atlanteans and had them fight each other. She turned Captain America into an adolescent, turns Eternals into aardvarks. She turned a deviant into a tree before, then changed them back. During this point in time, she wasn't sure she had powers or not, but she turned this cat into a dragon because she can. She even made the Eternals appear as deviants this one time. Just appear, not actually deviants though. She gave the Avengers, including characters like Wonder Man, functional gills this one time when it was underwater. That's ridiculous. She's a very good assistant or a support character. Turns 3 mutates into animals. Turning folks to lizards or deviants into lizards. She turned an alien warrior to a pig. She turns a man's head into that of Ben Grimm. Like, what? She can really do some stuff. She can even transmute inanimate objects to make the inanimate object moving and living. Well, she turned rooftops into monsters to fight this cosmic Hulk, aka this fake Hulk. Like, turn these decorations into like a literal band of like people doing music. Like, turns statues into samurai, turns this gun into like a tentacle monster and have the gun itself that he was originally holding attack the wielder. Like, what? She created multiple weaker clones of Ikaris. Of course, they're not on the same tier as Ikaris, but you know, she was able to make multiple clones of them. That's pretty cool. One of the top tier Eternals, of course. Talking about something helpful in battle. And they can shoot beams and stuff. Turns water into wine, turns a chair into a dog, does some decorations, turns herself into a doll, and a captured deviant into a cat. Then turns both back. Turns a control panel into flowers and then back again. Turns a shield into a singing pig. Like, really just old McDonald had a form like E-I-E-O. Like, why a pig out of all things? Did I fail to mention she has super strength physically? Just cause she's an Eternal after all. Like, she was able to hold on to a charging Hulk. Isn't that sweet? You got more lore on her. Even state tier, Sersi manipulates cosmic energy to grant herself virtually mortality and invulnerability, reshape the molecules of the other people or objects, release heat, light, or other energies from her eyes, hands, fly, teleport herself, and others can cast illusions. Look how higher energy projection is on the power grid. Sersi. There's more proof of her power. She was able to do this to Hercules, so showing that she ain't normal. She has telekinesis, like decorating this tree for Christmas. Stops a falling man, telekinesis. Levitates this one dude. Redirects fire. Made this huge tidal wave. Look how the area effects she can do, like that much wave. Shoots like I-beam. Can agitate iron molecules to bring the alloy to malleable temperature. Her I-beams are strong enough to send other Eternals flying, blast power wise. Sends this monster flying, for example. That's like the Eternals trademark. She took a hit from an Amp Nebula. She's very durable as well. She's not like a glass cannon. They even go as far as saying she has virtual immortality and virtual invulnerability, aka she should be bulletproof if she's invulnerable, right? Naturally, she can teleport herself or some friends, like teleporting this guy into her apartment. Telepathy, she can mind control. I mean, she even read Ikaris' thoughts before. She scanned everybody on Earth, frees other Eternals like Ikaris from mind control, and drugs do not affect her. She can telepathically communicate with characters like Captain America, for example. In combat, she shows some agility in times, like leaping over them like this. rebellious on this occasion. Got some romantic moments with Makkari. Well, in comics, she's had other romances with other Eternals, so I guess it's fine that she won't be with Makkari in the movies. She's strong enough to fly through a Kree century. She even has the ability to heal herself to an extreme degree. Like her arm was actually blasted off. Like, as you can see right here, it literally got blasted. She fell. Then she did the Piccolo regenerating thing and said, it's back. She's one of those tricky people to fight. Like, she can even project dreams, kind of disturb you in the heat of battle like this. Like, how do you fight this? You don't know what's real and what's not real, right? And she's also a good dancer. This is entertaining. Personality, right? While it is true that I agree that she does not specialize in physical strength, she has enough of it. Really specializes in her transmutation and blast power, being a helpful asset in an occasion with Thanos, along with the other Eternals. In her occasion blasting Thanos, she remembers how She-Hulk got done by Thanos, and that gave her an idea to kind of give him some suffering similar to that. It states the fungal plasma replicant injects threads through Thanos, each releasing pyrokinetic poison. Cells turn to primordial fire. It is effective, even better, it hurts. So Sersi is a helpful asset in hurting Thanos really badly in this occasion, overwhelming him. She even enjoys it. It kind of shows how far her transmutation can go, even against top tier or higher tier beings. But of course she had help with the other Eternals, but it's like, this should let you know she can affect beings like this with transmutation. What are her limits on that? She's one of those characters that don't have as much screen time as she should, but hey, she's pretty powerful when she holds her weight in the group of Eternals. It's not like she's a fighter in comparison to Ikaris and the other. In her own way, she could be even more dangerous than Ikaris and some of the other Eternals, even Makkari with this level of transmutation. But what do you guys think? And then you got the Eternal known as Carcass. He's actually a deviant that joined the group of Eternals. You know, that's why he looks like this. He's actually a deviant, but he said, nah, I'm switching groups. Very wise move, right? Because you know them deviants were getting that work. He is not shy to crush his adversaries in battle. Look at the size of him anyway. And the guy fought Greek giants, slams other deviants on occasions, battle feet, smashed Luke Cage in this occasion to the ground. He tanks blasters, deviant beams, he eats them, took a hit from a ray gun. He even scuffled with Thor on occasion, eating blows from him, kind of like wrestling with him and such. Fight didn't last long though, just a little quick scuffle. But then there's Eternals like Ajax, one of the most well-informed Eternals that knew about the Celestials for quite a bit of time, has eye-beams that zaps Makkari and annihilates his body in the process. Has matter manipulation, able to bring a stone wrestler to life, kind of like on some Sersi type stuff. Then he simply says, nah, you're going back and getting turned back into stone. Like what? Has telekinesis, like lifting up these weapons or guns, for example. Has great perceptions, like knowing when the Celestials will land. He has machines that track Ikaris, other Eternal. Not many showings, of course, but he does seem to have some pretty good transmutation or matter manipulation abilities, similar to characters like Sersi, but not to the same extent though. She seems to be the maxed out version of the transmutation squad of the Eternals, you know what I mean? She's the witchy one, witchcraft type one of the group, right? She's the one that doesn't rely on her physical strength as much, but relies on blast power and hacksy type stuff, right? But respect them both. Then you got Eternals like Kingo Sunan, you know, and he's strong enough to cut through some Eternal ships and stuff. Despite him having all the powers of other Eternals, basically, he seems to want to specialize in swordsmanship and wants to use his swordsmanship skills in combat, I guess. I guess some folks just prefer swords. Nothing wrong with that at all. No matter the situation, he seems to use his swords. Almost makes me wonder, his energy projection and stuff must suck if he just decides to use swords and stuff instead of just using blast power. But, you know, I'm just talking here. Still should be respected regardless, though. What do you think about him? Do you find him cool? And then you got this Eternal known as Hyperion, man. There's been a lot of different versions of him interacting with the main characters we like, but a lot of them are comparable to one another. Like, for example, the 616 Hyperion is an artificial construct based on Eternal physiology, but he's comparable to the other versions of him, like the 7112 version and etc. He has energy projection like atomic vision, showing energy projection again, also not afraid of using his fists. He has super hearing and vision, like this clap that the Hulk did hurt his ears because his ears are extra sensitive, but he stated that his punches from the Hulk don't even hurt at all. Like, that's showing that he's a Hulkish tier already, letting you know off gate. He fought his Earth 712 counterpart. They was creating shocks with their blows, showing that he is comparable to other versions of him. That's very important to Marvel history and has a lot of screen time in Marvel comics and etc. They even state the Titans clash. Each blow of diamond hard skin against diamonds hard skin produces a deafening thunderclap and sparks that ignite the twilight sky. Oh yeah, by the way, his atomic vision can produce heats way more than 12,000 degrees. This is also a full page on his lore if you want to read about him. His origin was born in a cross-dimensional world of Hyperion, a trans-quantum realm of each Hyperion has their own little origin. I'm gonna go through several Hyperions though on here though. Hyperion from Earth 616 has fought 712 in like full-blown slugfest, showing they are comparable to one.
another, and the gap isn't astronomical like one may think, or some try to use the argument, oh, it's a different version of the same character, we can't rank their feats accordingly. Well, we technically can when it's proven they are similar in lore and raw power, right? There's actually too much proof of this. The two different Hyperions fighting each other in a full-blown war, there wouldn't be this many panels if they weren't comparable to one another, laser vision, clashing with them, and etc. 616 Hyperion is no stranger to fighting powerhouses like the poster boy powerhouses like Thor himself, or Hulk's Hercules tier, matching him in fighting speed, combat speed, laser vision, Mjolnir throw, just a lot of evidence of it. Even the man, the myth, the legend, poster boy powerhouse himself, the Incredible Hulk, a sight to see. See what I mean? Look at this. Clap, that's the part I showed you earlier, Thunderclap. He's even overpowered Wonder Man before. A guy I got a video about, and he's very underrated. But this said guy does suffer from the writers not really knowing what they're doing, but in this particular occasion, they kind of showed him off pretty well, holding his weight against a powerhouse like Hyperion. Probably the most underrated powerhouse of all time. Oh yeah, by the way, he just blocked an attack from Thundra, pushed her to the side. You know what I'm saying? The Thing, somebody that's highly disrespected in the community, and people think the Thing is fodder, but he's not. I got a video about him to prove it. That doesn't matter. Hyperion is still able to overpower this underrated being. We can't just ignore how fast Hyperion is. Like, are we just going to ignore that he literally blitzed Wonder Man mid-fight all the way up to the sun that quick? Like, it was that fast. The tier that he's in, he should naturally have massively fast and light fighting speed up there with Silver Surfer and Thor. I mean, Thor, he's matching Thor in speed with no issues. Thor can react to characters like Silver Surfer and stuff like that. It makes sense. I showed this earlier briefly, but yeah, he's strong enough to bend steel. Lifts up this big old rock, like during the occasion with Thor, obviously. Full-blown create fire with his atomic vision. Look at this big crap he hold over his head. You can barely see it, though. Get backhand, boy. There was a point where Doctor Strange made him forget everything about himself, including his like powers and stuff. When he remembered who he was, basically created a shockwave when he claps two dumbbells together. Hello, Black Panther. Kind of like his way of making a thunderclap, I'm assuming. Of course, he can lift men up with ease. Isn't it weird that in Marvel, where usually all the main versions of the character are 616, the Hyperion that has the most character development is actually the Hyperion of Earth 712, which is crazy, right? Now, this super being known as Hyperion from Earth 712 was the last surviving member of a race of Eternals. The circumstances are kind of blurry, but he was adopted by the Milton family, who raised him as their adopted son, Mark Milton. He had a strong moral code, eventually becoming the superhero named Hyperion, protecting the world along a team of superhumans known as the Squadron Supreme. I'm not saying he has the flashiest feats, but if any version of him is going to have the most flashy feats, it's going to be this one because he has the most screen time. Even this one, he's slugging it out with Thor, throwing a car at him and everything. Breaks the steel cable strong enough to do so. The Beast tries to fight him. He beats him in one swing. He's out of his tier. Beats both Hellcat and Beast at the same time. They are light work to me, my tier. He bends a pole around Vision this one time. Flew through several buildings. He's so strong, he just doesn't even hit humans because of the fear of his strength, probably almost killing them. It's best to not even try to hit a human. Equal counterparts to him can crush diamonds into dust with their strength. Same with different counterparts of him punching beings through steel reinforced concrete. Lifts this large giant metal pillar in the process. Of course, it's not him, but a counterpart that's basically him, with the same level of strength, you know. And what do you know? He matched strength with his counterpart, like I literally just shown in this video already. He literally fought his counterpart. They're comparable. He's even gotten attacked with the Eternal known as Ikaris. I've already shown. Battle feat. He's kind of shrugged it off too. Right, he even matched Gladiator in strength, one of his better feats. Somebody that's a black hole tier being at least. Stated to be near equal to Gladiator's strength, even though he's laid out here. And what do you know? Fighting Thor yet again in this occasion of fighting. Slugs it out with Wonder Man. This version does it again. Wonder Man is somebody that should not be underrated. And he kind of one-shots Captain Marvel with that punch. They even implied in her base state she wasn't ready for Hyperion. He even states, Warbird, didn't you hear me? You can't go up against Hyperion like that. I said switch to your binary form, switch to your... Yeah, letting you know that she needs binary to hang with this level of being. They even mentioned that they're exerting planet pulverizing force. In this occasion, of course, when it comes to speed, he claims he has unearthly speed. In this case, with Beast getting slammed, like using his speed to catch Hellcat, intercepting high caliber bullets, briefly runs as fast as a casual Wiser, flies 450 miles in moments, speed, fighting his other self, of course, catches a flying Gladiator who is massively fast and light, countering Gladiator in nanoseconds, which is 1/1000th of a second, tackles another version of a Hyperion before he can basically react. This is a different version of him. Oh yeah, by the way, he's bulletproof, obviously. Like, he literally eats a slash from Ultimate Wolverine. That's ridiculous. While his power was halved, he did this. He can see outside the human spectrum.
Resist mental manipulation by the Overmind. You got to respect the fact he lifted a 340-ton satellite, as you can see right here. But he's only 100-ton level. You know, that junk's just a pun at this point. Lifting all this is way over 100 tons, right? Even though it's kind of annoying that they said he struggled, but this is kind of not the best writing. Talking about he's struggling with this shouldn't be nothing compared to the people he always fights, like Hulk and stuff, who can lift stuff that are planet-sized, but that's none of my business. This version of Hyperion actually killed his 616 counterpart. It's kind of crazy, ain't it? Hyperion in general, even the 616 counterpart that died, I would say they're still around that Thor-ish, Hulkish tier. Makes sense, right? Meaning that he should be millions of times past solar system when it comes to raw punching power, thanks to the black hole feats of Thor, Gladiator. I mean, Hyperion being Match Gladiator. You know, it just makes sense. Watch my Gladiator video to add on top of the Fuel to the Fire on while fighting Gladiator is impressive. Oh yeah, a feat I forgot, in the 616 era, the 616 Hyperion destroyed this meteor. The 712 one wanted to destroy, but he got teleported somewhere else, so the other one had to do it, but they both could destroy the meteor. He got teleported somewhere else. 616 Hyperion had to take care of it, but 712 could have did it too. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. 712 one did kill the 616 Hyperion, so he should be able to do something with this level of strength too. And then you have another Hyperion. There's too many Hyperions that get screen time, I swear. From Earth 13,034. This is the Hyperion's origin. You can see it right here. On Earth that was no more, there were two titans called Hyperion. The first was a legend, a story everyone knew. They knew of his escape from a dying world, of his journey to Earth, of the man called Father who found him and molded him into a tool to shape society, and in shaping them to the world and the people in it. And you can read the rest right here. You can pause the video. It should be in HD format, so you can read this if you want to. His whole origin, bada bang, bada ba, surviving universes collapsing on one another, stuff like that. That's kind of like a feat too, but I'm gonna go back to that in a second. But as you can see, respect Hyperion right here. This version of Hyperion still seems to be in that Hulkish tier. I mean, he's even fought Namor, somebody that's kind of underrated that needs to be respected as well. I mean, he literally carries and throws the city of Atlantis, dude. He rips off the High Evolutionary's arm, flies through a newly rebuilt terminus, stops a rogue planet, like an Earth-sized planet on his own, with raw strength. Okay, yeah, he definitely has the more flashier feats. This one does. This Hyperion does. The Earth-sized planet was moving at ridiculous speeds, adding more power to the already massive weight, which means Hyperion should be able to lift over 6.6 sextillions of tons. I mean, this is a mega low ball compared to the people that he fights. This is just a benchmark based on his feat. He's even strong enough to hold two planets from colliding with one another. How the heck did he survive the collapse of two universes? But that's none of my business. Some ridiculous durability in this occasion. Not only can he stop a planet moving at ridiculously fast speeds, but he can stop an incursion for temporary amounts of time, aka two planets, showing his level of power. By the way, he eats cannons that can destroy humans. Sonic cannon isn't enough. Armor-piercing missiles ain't ready. Tanks blast from High Evolutionary. Yeah, fighting him, High Evolutionary battle feat. He's gotten in slugfest with Hulk, when he was mind-controlled, of course. Ridiculous, right? Look like he's ready to go for some more rounds. Tanks hits from Namor, another powerhouse. AIM agents drag him into a building, but that isn't necessarily going to cut it. He was even able to imply to outspeed Thor's lightning before his lightning could even get there, outspeeding this built thing of terminus like I've already shown, but lightning got there after he hit him. You know what I mean? He seems to be great with kids as well. Oh yeah, his heat vision is the speed of light. It's even strong enough to blast back credible beings like the Hulk. Does this to an arsenic Thor. He could see electrons orbiting nuclei. He could see the parts that made the whole, aka microscopic vision. He can see DNA on a carpet. Talking about being able to zoom all the way in. He figures out what year is it. He knows a corpse is from another planet or another universe by looking at it. Yeah, this Hyperion is pretty cool and powerful. Just kind of like the other ones, powerhouse tier, Hulkish Thor tier. Nothing much changed there, right? But there's one more I want to go over before we dip off of Hyperion. And that's King Hyperion, a psychopathic, crazy version of Hyperion. He's from the Earth 4023. All these different Hyperions that be getting screen time is crazy, right? You can see the background looking crazy, right? Daredevil on the floor, crazy, right? Once this version of Mark Milton gained his powers on the alternate Earth 4023, he literally decided to try and conquer the Earth. Well, he kind of did. He killed all of the world's heroes here and was reigning over it with no opposition to humanity as a whole, made a last-ditch effort to kill him by launching every nuclear weapon available by Hyperion at the end of it. Only Hyperion was still alive while the rest of the world was ruined by the nuclear holocaust. Why would they try to just kill him with a whole bunch of nukes?
Hyperion remained on the dead Earth until he was recruited by a multiversal group known as the Time Breakers to serve on the Exiles team. Once Hyperion was transported to the team and onto another alternate Earth, he began his tries at world domination once again and was truly known as King Hyperion. Talking about power hungry, right? He stopped this being known as Holocaust attacks with one hand, showing his level of power. He even states, I am a walking H-bomb, hydrogen bomb, but it doesn't matter. Like, you can literally see beat up and killed a bunch of alternate Avengers, Fantastic Four, Thor. It seemed like there's no catch either. It seemed like he literally did it himself. It's almost like he actually did what people assumed the Maestro Hulk did, but in this reality, he actually did fight him and beat him up in this reality. I kind of wish Maestro did this, I ain't gonna lie. Does this to another Hyperion? Yeah, he's fought other Hyperions as well. One shots this huge monster. He says next. This is a better view of the monsters he one-shotted, these mountain-sized creatures. The one he one-shotted was the largest one. Like, isn't that crazy? He fought the Juggernaut. Of course, this Juggernaut was weakened, of course, but that's still impressive, showing he's in that tier of power. Beating the mess out of Juggernaut, but check it out. Juggernaut's durability is crazy. That King Hyperion's hand is like stinging. And he's got in a fight with Blue Marvel, but I will admit Blue Marvel's insanely strong. Blue Marvel actually got the W here, though. He's fast enough to create a sandstorm by spinning. He was able to counter Blink's teleportation by vibrating a certain way. He even avoided getting hit by his own heat vision through Blink's portals. Pretty quick reaction time. Destroyed Vision's body with heat vision, destroying Sentinels with energy projection, kills Namora while underwater, an Atlantean type being. We're not going to ignore how he just destroyed Juggernaut's helmet, though, like I showed this earlier, though. And by the way, he did absorb Holocaust's energy, froze a giant wave with super breath, ice breath, yeah, kind of like Superman. Yeah, he's kind of just like a mirror image, I'm not going to lie. Dude, his regeneration is so underrated and something nobody talks about. He actually regenerated his body from little more than a head, shoulders, and a bit of little torso. It even states here, but every cell in my body is like a little battery I see, so I guess I just soaked up the daylight these walls put out, and whatever was missing started to grow back. Like, he literally grew back legs. He even somehow grew back clothes. Physiology. But yeah, not too many showings, but the showings he did have were pretty flashy. King Hyperion went insane. All the Hyperions seem to be in that Hulk Historians tier in their bases, of course. So that's fair to say, but respect him. How strong do you think Hyperion is? Did you know he could do some of that stuff? I bet you didn't know he can do some of that stuff. Did you even know that most of the Hyperions in the multiverse is Eternals? Even the 616 one has Eternal physiology, even though it was created by the Grandmaster, but you get the idea. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, though. To show you how strong Thanos is without the glove, no power-ups, no space stone. The only power-ups he will have are permanent power-ups or amps he's had over the years, which I don't even call outside help at the point when the power-ups, like, it's permanent. I don't just consider it like a power-up anymore. Like, for example, Black Panther eating the heart-shaped herb and got, like, the Black Panther powers. That's, like, his power. Like, that wasn't just a one-story situation. That's just him. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I mean by temporary power-ups. So Thanos has had amps over the years, but even in his older days, he still was always an extreme threat. But let's get into how strong Thanos is without any temporary power-ups, that is. He is respected by primordial gods, some that you might have not even heard of throughout Marvel. He was getting pounded by Galactus in this particular scan, but the fact that Galactus stated that he was impressed and the fact that he had to actually put effort into the blast shows his respect for Thanos. He is able to pummel beings like Adam Warlock with minimal effort. Completely overpowers characters like Captain Marvel, a being that roughly scales to Captain Marvel the female. He can cause permanent death. Thanos can cause permanent death to beings in the Cancerverse, a universe to where permanent death shouldn't technically be possible. He kind of can hack his way to permanent death. So beings that are immortal might want to watch out fighting Thanos. The Cancerverse is literally a universe where literally a universe that death does not exist. Thanos in his base state can destroy stuff where death doesn't exist. It literally stated death is not the end in this universe. This certain universe, death does not exist, but yet Thanos was able to break this rule and kill things that are not supposed to be permanently dead. Thanos has even petrified a scroll, like literally turning him into stone before. Thanos uses energies that are hard to control and hard to manipulate. That's why he has energy projection. Part of the reason why Thanos is so strong is because of lore right here. It even states here, within him flows the blood of Olympian gods modified at the whim of the Celestial. Xerion the Tester. The Titans were a splinter group from Xerion's initial test subjects, the Eternals. The Titans abandoned Earth centuries past, settled
settled on the moon of Saturn that would one day bear their name. Born the genetic disposition known as the deviant syndrome, I would never be accepted among the Titans as normal. Under guidance, he grew strong and powerful, well versed in black arts. She taught me that knowledge truly is power, and that power is everything. As you can see, Lady Death over here in this occasion. Older Thanos showed he's not afraid to use swords, all types of weapons, so he's trained in different types of armed or unarmed combat, as you know. And more lore for Thanos or the Eternals just in general. This is probably the best Eternals like explanation right here. You can pause the video if you have to right here. Really shows all the issues and shows the differences between Thanos and the different Eternals on how he's a Titanian Eternal. I mean, why would they even put him on the list of Eternals if he wasn't Eternals? They even have him here along with the other Eternals. Respect it.
Actually, one punch knocked out the Thing, completely bullied Black Dwarf, and slammed him to the ground, curb stomping him. Nebula used the Infinity Gauntlet to trap Thanos in something he was able to break out with his raw power alone, even though she used the Infinity Gauntlet's power to trap him in this. More than likely, she didn't know what she was doing because there's no way Thanos in base form would be able to overpower the Infinity Gauntlet. So it's just somebody that was unfamiliar with the Gauntlet using it against Thanos, the reason why he was able to break out. You know the weapon that Ronan always uses, the universal weapon? Well, Thanos was actually able to break it with his bare hands. The fact that he actually has the balls to threaten a Hell Lord like Mephisto is pretty crazy. He one-shot KO'd a Super Skrull on the level of at least the Thing or Fantastic Four members. Classic Drax, a being that is able to fight on par with beings like Professor Hulk, shoots Thanos. Thanos was able to just completely much tank it. Don't forget that Drax has gotten a slugfest with the Hulk before. So yeah, Drax isn't no lightweight. There was even this time he was actually able to backhand the Hulk and Drax and send them both backwards. When he was on Battleworld, he actually was fighting two Thors at the same time. Are you kidding me? Ronan actually hit Thanos in the back of the head with the universal weapon, and it seems like it does nothing, and Thanos just counters it and pulls the hammer out of his hand himself. Thanos is consistently shown to be able to overpower the powerhouses that we know and love. Even characters like the Silver Surfer has been shown to consistently blast Thanos with his energy blast, and he seems like he eats it for breakfast, even leaving Silver Surfer confused. He is consistently shown to be able to tank blast from Silver Surfer without even blinking. Still skeptical about Thanos' durability and raw power? How about the fact he was actually able to withstand an actual black hole without dying? Consistent with the characters he fight. I mean, after all, characters like Silver Surfer are black hole level and can blast away solar systems, so this makes sense for him to be able to survive something like this, even without any enhancements. Debatably the mightiest Captain Marvel, which is probably the mightiest, getting his veil, was able to blast Thanos, and Thanos didn't even budge. Ridiculous levels of durability and resilience, endurance. Probably one of Thanos' most absurd feats ever. The time he was actually able to fight on par with a Thor that had the power freaking gem. Kept getting back for more and even smiled off his attacks. You know, the power gem, you know, one of the 6 Infinity Stones, you know, the thing that gives you pretty much limitless potential from infinite power. You know, that thing. There was another time where Thanos has faced one of the mightiest powerhouses in Marvel, Thor himself, the god of strength, the god of thunder himself. To no avail, he's able to eat his attacks consistently. Old comics, new comics alike, he's consistently shown to be able to overpower Thor-level beings without much effort. Even mighty Skyfathers that can blast away galaxies casually shot a blast at Thanos and didn't budge right here in this instance. This is not saying that Odin cannot hurt or beat Thanos. This is just instance right here. Odin obviously underestimated how powerful he was and didn't shoot him with enough power, so that's why Thanos didn't budge here. But even when Odin got serious and he called upon his Gendry, his super weapon, I hope I said that right, and he started fighting Thanos somewhat seriously, shooting Thanos backward, Thanos is still able to keep moving forward and coming back without being knocked out. Impressive durability and resilience. A lot of people say that Thanos got handled here. I mean, he might have not won the fight, but at the same time, he didn't freaking back down either. And Odin was not like playing around if he had to summon this weapon to use. The fact that he casually shot a blast at Thanos with his hands and he had to call upon this weapon to actually fight Thanos lets you know that he got somewhat more serious than before, or he just kept casually shooting those energy blasts that wasn't doing nothing to him, so he had to get serious. Or he actually started damaging Thanos, but Thanos still wasn't knocked out or backing down. Some of you might not understand why fighting Odin is such a big deal. Well, the simple fact that during a fight with another Skyfather level being named Seth, Odin has been shown to destroy galaxies and much more in the past. So for Thanos to be able to shrug off casual blasts from a being like this, that's what makes it impressive. Was able to draw blood from a cosmic being like In-Betweener. The In-Betweener is Galactus' equal at full power. So this is absurd to be able to draw blood from a being like this. He is the exact photo opposite of the In-Betweener, and Thanos was able to draw blood from a being on this cosmic scale. This is insane. You know Black Bolt, the Inhuman that nobody ever wants to scream at because he would knock characters out with his scream? Yeah, Thanos was actually able to take a scream from Black Bolt himself. All it did was knock off his clothes, gave him a nosebleed, and just pissed Thanos off even more. Consistently shown to be able to overpower or take attacks from Silver Surfer, even able to block his attack with the raising of his hand. If Thanos wasn't already dangerous enough, how about the fact actually a beast telepathic being? Yes, that's right, a telepath too, on top of his ridiculous blast power, raw strength, and durability. He's on some Professor X type tough. One could even debate he's even better than Professor X to be able to fight a being like this, Moondragon. In case you are not familiar with Moondragon and her psionic abilities, she is so vast in psionic abilities, many perceive her to be even above Professor X. Even with Cerebro, being able to enslave an entire planet with her psychiatric or psychic abilities. Another example of Moondragon's absurd telepathic power is the time she was actually working with Thanos to help penetrate Galactus himself's mind, actually succeeding in helping penetrate the mental barriers, but couldn't really defeat him though. Although it may fail, the fact that they actually was able to somewhat pierce the mind of Galactus, an abstract being similar to Eternity, Oblivion, and etc., is indeed impressive and ridiculous. And Thanos is able to consistently overpower her psionically, telepathically, and things like that. Another reason why Thanos being able to resist Moondragon is impressive is the fact that Thanos actually made an actual clone of himself that was designatedly made for telekinetic attacks or telepath attacks to be able to mind destroy people and stuff like that. Moondragon was actually able to obliterate this Thanos clone with a psychic battle, showing that the real Thanos' psychic abilities are even above this one that has this big old head that looks like it's designately made for this type of treatment. She has some impressive telepathic feats, and for the fact that Thanos is able to resist her makes him even more of a greater threat than he already is, as if his super strength, blast power, telekinesis, and stuff like that were already not enough, including his intellect. He's actually able to use his telepathy to mind control one of the hardest beings in existence to mind control, the Incredible Hulk himself. This same being has resisted mind control consistently in the past, as you all know on my page. And even Professor X couldn't go inside his mind and control him, but yet Thanos was able to do it with relative ease. Telepathy is insane. Moondragon with the mind gem cannot enter Thanos' mind? He's a strong telepath and ridiculous telepathic resistance. How do you resist somebody's telepathy when they have the mind gem? There's a time where Thanos was actually able to mind beat down Drax the Destroyer. Is able to use his energy shield against the champion of the universe with the power gem. He even used his shields when he was fighting Thor. Thor had the power gem. There has been several times where he was able to devour worlds, the abstract being Galactus, sometimes where he would fly, send him flying. Not necessarily defeat him or KO him or nothing. Just send him flying with his blast. Still is impressive. You know Ego the Living Planet? He was able to obliterate his arm. Something I wish he would use in the MCU a lot more was his energy projection, using his finger like on some Frieza style from Dragon Ball to be able to shoot energy out by pointing his finger at stuff. He even has abilities that people forget, being able to heal beings as well. Was able to stop Stormbreaker from coming towards him by making a shield around it. Thanos also has the ability to seal, but the person he tried to seal was a Skyfather, so it didn't work out too well. It's a really interesting ability, being on the Skyfather ranges. But the fact he was actually able to cast a spell on Deadpool to make him immortal. By now, you probably know that Thanos is absurd. He has ridiculous abilities like telepathy, energy blast, being able to levitate, mystical abilities, and things like that. If that's not enough, he has some notable fights, fighting some of the mightiest beings in the known Marvel universe, even without the stones or any type of powers or amps, besides the, permanent amps. Everybody seems to respect Drax the Destroyer, one of the beings that was sole purpose was to made to defeat Thanos. This fight is cool because their fight actually caused a planet to get destroyed, showing some planet-busting feats with Thanos, something you don't really see often. Thanos was able to handle a 2v1 between Captain Marvel and the Thing, powerhouses in their own right. Pretty easy victory for Thanos too. That's the crazy part is these people are not that weak. Believe it or not, Thanos actually fought the Ego, the living planet. He was able to rip the core out of Ego, cause him great pain. Ego actually felt fear of his actual life being ended, mortality. It's unknown what you would call this a win or not. Thanos fights Star-Lord, amps him with a celestial artifact, putting Star-Lord on a ridiculous level of power to be able to hang with him. We all know that under normal conditions, there's no way Star-Lord will be able to hang with somebody like Thanos. You know he massively has to be amped. Look at the way his color looks. He's all pink and stuff like that. Thanos is still able to fight him blow for blow, even with this celestial upgrade. Please note, he is massively amped, and this is not something that Star-Lord has all the time. So don't you dare try to lowball Thanos and say something like, well, he's struggling against Star-Lord because Star-Lord ain't even that strong. He weaker than Spider-Man. He was amped in this comic issue by some super-powered crystals. Thanos seems to be smiling the entire way. Thanos literally pretty much almost beat him to death. Well, not almost. Boy was at death's door. Can shoot multiple beams out in multiple directions. You know, the same Allfathers like Odin that can fight sentient galaxies? Yeah, those type of Allfathers have respect for him. And the fact that he consistently beats down the powerhouse heroes of Marvel consistently on a consistent basis under normal conditions. Odin is one of those beings where his battles can be seen from galaxies away, even from Earth, even though they're light years away. You're probably thinking, man, this dude Thanos is absurd, especially with his battle feats. Being able to overpower beings with telepathy, even though they have the Mind Stone, being able to fight a being like Thor that's already the god of strength, already a god tier character with the power gem, being able to fight characters like Ego the Living Planet, being able to fight all fathers like Odin himself, who have fought sentient galaxies and even can blast away a universe. Thanos is one of those characters where he's one of those rare people where it will take more than one powerhouse character to win. And even then, they would need to have a plan, strategy to counter the telepathy, energy blast, energy projection, and things like that. Even without no glove or no power-ups or anything, Thanos is still a retarded threat, even from far away. Being able to do stuff other telepaths can't do, even with the Mind Stone, being able to control characters like the Hulk with his telepathy, stuff like that is just absurd. So Thanos is definitely above your average hero under normal conditions. Now, however, there are probably cases where heroes like Thor, Hercules can get amps, same with Hulk. They get power-ups to the point where they can pass Thanos or match him or things like that. But under normal conditions, they aren't on the Thanos level. Thanos will be closer to that Odin level. Not necessarily equal to Odin, but he'll be around that range, maybe slightly below. I mean, after all, Thanos is the same being that was able to fight his son that had the entire Phoenix Force inside of him, another cosmic entity that's on par with Galactus or higher, possibly. Especially White Phoenix of the Crown, definitely above the average powerhouse heroes under normal conditions. Not to mention, he's like got ridiculous intelligence.
Thanos, or old King Thanos, like the super powered up Thanos. The Thanos run in 2016, the run was set in an alternate universe, evidently in which death has infected Thanos with this quote-unquote incurable disease. Some call it God cancer. You know death, like the entity death. Yeah, Thanos likes death. They're having a lot of interaction together. If you don't know, that's one of the reasons why Thanos is dying. And this is an abstract level being, by the way. That's why she's even able to do this to somebody who's powerful like Thanos. Dubbed the God cancer. Thanos' son, Thena, enacts a plan with death in which we will secure the power of the Phoenix Force and use it to kill Thanos and take the universe for his own. Yeah, similar plots, similar to his own dad. Yeah, I know, not much substance. Thanos survives his encounter with his son and earns the powers of the God Quarry. Not only did it cure him of his ridiculous disease, but it also let him gain ridiculous power. Why is this relevant, you ask? Well, this is actually the context on why this version of Thanos in the future is so powerful. He got this amp as young, right? And then his future self got stronger over time because of this ridiculous amp right here already. The God Quarry is the source of future Thanos' power and the old King Thanos' supposedly limitless power. Like, the reason why you're going to see some crazy feats. I'm explaining to you all this stuff because you're about to see some ridiculous feats for old King Thanos. Not many feats, but the little feats he does have are absurd, which is why I'm trying to give the best context possible on why he's even this ridiculously powerful without any type of Infinity Stones or Heart of the Universe or Cosmic Cubes or anything. The God Quarry is described as a grave for gods of old, where their unimaginable power still lingers for taking, guarded by the Sisters of Eternity. The Sisters of Eternity, you already know they're powerful by the way they sound, by the way that sounds. To really get an accurate representation of how strong Thanos is, you gotta just know how strong Thanos is in his normal state before the God Quarry. Okay, for context, Thanos that's not old, aka a young Thanos in the same plotline, the same storyline in 2016, fought his son with the Phoenix Force before he's old, is actually able to match him. The freaking Phoenix Force, before the massive time skip into the future. Yeah, this is the new base Thanos, the God Quarry Thanos. Like, telling me this power gets bigger in the future? Hopefully this is enough context for you guys to see this absurdity I'm about to show you. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Phoenix Force is compared to Eternity and Infinity, by the way, at full power, but I'm pretty sure Thane can't, use those levels of power. He's immature with the power and things like that. Blah, 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 blah. He doesn't know the power he wields. I don't give a crap. I don't care if you ain't never used it ever in your life. You can fight Phoenix like this without any freaking Infinity Stones. It's absurd. You know, the Sisters of Eternity, like those absurd beings. He's confident he can take them out. These are the same beings that pretty much kind of sort of can defeat the Phoenix Force when Thane had it. Thanos thinks he can beat them. These are also the same beings that did this to the abstract being known as death. So the Sisters of Eternity are no joke, but Thanos with God Quarry, even right here, he believes he can take these sisters out. Okay, guys. I know I've been stalling long enough trying to give you guys context on trying to make this not sound like a wank, but you're ready. You ready for the absurdity? Okay, I'm about to bring you the absurdity of what old King Thanos has done. Evidently, with the God Quarry in the future, old King Thanos got so powerful enough he can kill old King Thor, Skyfather level being, just kills him with ease. I know this is absurdity. Oh yeah, and kills everybody else along with it. Even rips Iron Man in half. By the way,
You know Galactus, like, you know, the abstract being comparable to the Eternity and Infinity. God Quarry Thanos, evidently future Thanos, God Quarry Thanos. God Quarry future Thanos got so powerful from him evidently just aging, is able to blast the head off of Galactus because of his new powers. So you telling me the God Quarry Thanos, after all these years, made him get this much power? I mean, yo, golly. The God Quarry is scary if he could do this. Was able to send his younger self flying with the God Quarry. Even though I am beyond confused on how his younger self can even give him a fight if his older self is supposed to be just that much more powerful with the God Quarry. Oh yeah, I mentioned he kills the X-Men Namor and the Guardians of the Galaxy and even Maestro. Caught Silver Surfer off guard and stabs him with this little crazy powerful sword. Is that the Twilight Sword? My goodness, that's gotta hurt. This new powered up Silver Surfer that's kind of black, the Black Surfer, hit him in the chest and he was good afterwards. This has got to be one of the craziest feats of all time. Actually likes the penance stare. He actually enjoyed the pleasure. Is a sicko. Actually enjoying the penance stare is straight up absurdity and crazy. The parts that don't make no sense. Evidently Black Bolt got amped so much to where evidently Black Bolt's scream can evidently kill Celestials. So somebody tell me why Black Bolt is not like an abstract being in the main. You know what? I'm going to stop trying to make sense of this, guys. Okay. If I'm being realistic, I don't want to use too much headcanon, but if I'm being realistic, Black Bolt is probably way more amped than he is in his normal timeline, the current timeline compared to the story. You know, to what type of enhancements or experiments Thanos has did with all his different amps and magical artifacts he has in his disposal. One of the many people he killed in future Thanos, his future Thanos self did, killed Surtur and took his Twilight Sword off screen. We don't know how he was able to do all of this, but I'm assuming he has a whole bunch of, you know, artifacts like he always does, like the Cosmic Cube and Infinity Stones and Ultimate Nullifier to do all of this off screen. That's got to be an avatar of the Living Tribunal, because that can't be the real Living Tribunal, because the real Living Tribunal is like everywhere at once at all times, and we know the Living Tribunal is still out here in Marvel. With that being said, if this was truly the Living Tribunal, the Tribunal would just be gone from Marvel history, period. No matter what comic he's in, he would just be gone because Thanos killed him here. Even if it's an alternate timeline, because there's only one true Living Tribunal. That's why I say this has got to be an avatar, because it just doesn't make sense for the Living Tribunal to be in other comics now or in the future if he got killed whenever in the timeline. I know some of you probably still understand what I'm saying, but yeah, that's probably more than likely Avatar of the Living Tribunal, but still absurd. And it didn't show how. I'm curious on how he did that, though. Did he just do it in base state? If that's crazy if he did. God Quarry ain't no joke. And one of their past encounters before he actually killed Galactus actually made Galactus run from him like, whoa, what in the living heck? I guess you can get an example of how strong God Quarry old Thanos is. The fact that his younger God Quarry self could still kind of hurt him badly. Just gives you an idea of like how much power it gave him. Really, he can literally give himself a challenge, even though all these other characters couldn't. God Quarry amp with Thanos was absurd. Thanos has been described as a universal constant in the past. So, guys, I know these feats are absolutely ridiculous, but I hope the context I did tell you was enough to convince you that it's not just all the way wanking. I do think there is some wanking, but it's not like he didn't have no explanation at all. I mean, there's a few explanations when you really dig deep into it. It's not just his base state. It's Thanos with a new amp that is absurd enough to maybe put him on par with Death, the abstract entity maybe. And then the fact that with the amp over time, that amp gets stronger over time. Not to mention the fact that Thanos more than likely has ridiculous relics and things like that, like the Infinity Gauntlet, Cosmic Cube, Ultimate Nullifier, blah, 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 blah. Even if they didn't show how he killed those people, we can assume he probably did it in that way, especially when it comes to characters like the Living Tribunal. If he didn't do that stuff with all the artifacts, then how? Like, was the God Quarry that freaking OP? This is possible. What do you guys think? Did you guys know King Thanos was this strong?
Of course, this isn't every Eternal I covered in this video. Of course, yeah, I included Thanos in this ranking. This is a good lineup of the major Eternals that we see the most. You know, you from left to right, Thanos, Makkari is in the red, Ikaris is in the blue, Thena is in the red, yep, the female, Gilgamesh, and then Hyperion all the way to the right. All the Hyperions are pretty much around the same tier. That's why I'm not really distinguishing between each one. If I had to put a power grid or at least put bars under their power levels, this is how I would make it look. This is how I would say the power rankings would go. Yeah, Thanos is consistently fighting Silver Surfer tiers and beating the snot out of him, so I would say he's considerably different than most Eternals. But as far as the other Eternals, they're around the same range of power. Thena, Makkari doesn't specialize in strength, but of course speed, so his punching power is still insane. Based on the fact he's fast as runner, he can use his fighting speed in combat to kind of enhance his punching power, which is why I have him ranked so high. Ikaris said he's slightly below Thor. He said it himself, but he's still within that same range, so not an astronomical difference. I hope this helps.
If I'm being honest, me adding in all that Hyperion stuff was kind of just extra fun stuff I didn't really need to add. He's not really part of the Eternals main squad that we see, like Ikaris and them and Makkari, but I just thought it would be fun because he's technically an Eternal as well. But when it comes to the Eternals, I would say they're all within the medium heavy, some of them in the medium heavyweight tiers, and then some of them in the heavy tiers, like closer to Thor and Hulk's range. I don't really think none of them really surpass the Hulk or Thor range, unless you're talking about the ridiculously overpowered Eternals, like the Titanian Eternals, like the man, the myth, the legend, Thanos himself. I mean, he seems to do stuff that other Eternals can't do when it comes to battling our favorite heroes, overpowering our favorite heroes, like Silver Surfer consistently. Heck, even almost beating Silver Surfer to death. Like, that's the thing that makes him just seems like the anomaly of the Eternals. This is not the average power level of Eternal. I'm still waiting for like one of my favorite heroes in their base states to even fight him one-on-one and not get beat. The part that's scary about Thanos too is that he's very consistent with it. Like, he's fought your favorites and destroyed them. Even the entire Annihilator team, which is a team of Silver Surfer tier beings, even with Nova. Other Eternals, I can't see them pulling these things off. Like a 5v1, fighting with Betty Ray Bill, Ronan, and Silver Surfer. Even messing up Ronan's universal weapon. Ridiculous. So yeah, I do think Thanos is the mightiest Eternal, even without no stones. I mean, this is a misconception that he needs the stones, but he don't, but he's a beast. What do you guys think? Respect the Eternals. You guys ready for the live action movie? I'm ready for it. How'd you enjoy this video? Did you learn something new? Hopefully you did. Respect the Eternals.